Hi everybody, it's Stephanie. 2 years ago, I made the most adorable baby Sonic cake to celebrate the Sonic movie. And now I am so excited because Sonic the Hedgehog 2 will be here soon. And this time, I am really looking forward to seeing Tails. So today, I am going to be making Tails out of cake. Let's get started. This is not a regular tiered cake, so we are going to start out with a cake structure that I've already built, and I have made it using the regular supplies I always do, MDF, a threaded rod, and armature wire. One thing to note about it is that the threaded rod is off to the side slightly. You don't want it in the center.
And as you know, Tails has not one but two tails, which I was slightly worried about, so I added more armature wire just to be safe, and then I ran out of wire, so this is what I have to go with. I don't like cake touching metal, so let's get this entire structure covered in aluminum foil tape. Okay, I'm stacking up Oreo cakes for the head and body, and if you have not tried Oreo buttercream before, you definitely have to give it a try. It's just American buttercream with chopped up Oreos mixed in. It is insanely good.
Sometimes cakes go perfectly as planned, and sometimes not so much. I made a bunch of mistakes on this cake, beginning with these giant feet. I don't know why I made these so big. They're way too big, but really you just need 2 layers of cake for the feet.
Too much cake is not going to be a problem though, because we still need to carve it. Let's start by rounding out the top of the head. The body also needs trimmed, so thin out the cake up towards the neck. I also trimmed the feet at this point, but they're still slightly too big. I had to keep going back to them throughout the entire process of the cake. Cover everything in chocolate ganache, and if you need that recipe, I'll put it for you down in the description box. Add a second coat of ganache if you feel it's needed, and then smooth it out like we always do. My chocolate ganache has had time to set up, and I have a few areas to fill in still. There's a small gap right under his chin, so I thought I would fill that in with some modeling chocolate, but you could also use chocolate ganache if you prefer that. I also made a batch of Cocoa Rice Krispie treats, and I'm filling in the lower portion of the body to round that out. Let's move on to the tails. My original plan was to have a tail sticking out on each side, but once I started putting the Rice Krispies on, I could already see it starting to fall. So the next plan was to move the tails together so that maybe they could help support each other if they were touching. But once I turned the camera off, the Rice Krispies fell right off. The next plan was to build a foil tape shelf by wrapping more foil tape around the 2 wires to add support, and that was the winning idea.
Sometimes I'll see cake makers making tails like this completely out of foil, so they'll just pack in a bunch of foil around the armature wire and then cover that in the modeling chocolate, and that totally works too. That's totally great, but I am actually kind of proud of this because it was so sturdy and mostly edible, which is a good thing.
Now that the tails are beautifully shaped, I'm covering them in a layer of chocolate ganache. If you didn't know, Tails is a fox, so he needs to be covered in an orangey yellow color of modeling chocolate. So I'm covering it in panels, one on the front, and then I move on to covering the back. Covering the tails are a little bit tricky, but if you use modeling chocolate, you shouldn't have a problem smoothing it out and blending the seams.
I found this little tool in my drawer. I'm not exactly sure what it is even for, but I thought it would work well for making little hairs all over the cake. So I just used this all over and scratched up the cake to make hairs. You can use any tool that you already have, like maybe even your modeling tools or an X-Acto knife.
Matching a character's facial details perfectly is incredibly difficult. It helps to find a photo of the character and use it as a template, which is what I'm doing here for his muzzle. When I make eyes, I like using fondant, and you always want to stick eyepieces on with shortening because you will most definitely need to move them around and adjust them until you get them in the right spot. Eyes can get creepy really fast, so you have to be careful. I hand painted the eyes with edible food colors mixed with a tiny drop of vodka. I outlined the eyes and made a gradual fade from dark blue at the top of the iris to a lighter blue at the bottom. I also gave him some eyelashes and a cute light reflection in his eye.
Sometimes if I'm not getting the face details on the cake right, I will take a picture of the cake with my phone, and then I will sit down and then I will look at the photo and I will compare it to a picture on the internet. So I'll just flip back and forth from the picture on the internet to the cake photo, and I don't know what it is about that, but something about it just helps me figure out what I'm getting wrong. So if you can't get it, try doing that and maybe it will help you.
He also needs 2 triangles of modeling chocolate for the ears, and don't forget those 3 wisps of hair on top of his head. If you look at the movie poster, he seems angry, but in kind of a cute way, so I decided to add thicker brows, and I think that completely changed his look and expression. Now he looks like he's about to get into a fight with Knuckles.
Tails was originally named Miles Prower, and later on they added the nickname Tails, which I think is so cute. My favorite thing about Tails is that he uses those 2 tails to twirl, and that will make him fly like a helicopter. He's even as fast as Sonic.
For his arms, I'm rolling out a log of modeling chocolate, and then I cut a slit in it and I attach it around the armature wire. He has massive white gloves on, and for these, I spent a really long time modeling each hand into a fist. I wanted it to look like he was about to punch someone. So use your own hand as a model, and after you've modeled the 4 fingers, you can then go back and add the thumb. Before I finish decorating my shoes, I'm adding a log of modeling chocolate for his right leg, and this will cover up that threaded rod. To keep his other leg in place, I used a bamboo skewer that I stuck into the shoe and up into the body, and that was enough support to hold the other leg. There are a few more details on the shoes, like a black trim, some cute stitching, and shoelaces.
I am loving how this cake is looking so far, but I thought it would look even better if I added some dust for some shading. So I'm using some Wilton brown color mixed with a little bit of cornstarch, and then this one is a very, very shimmery gold that I found on Amazon. It is so glittery.
My board got messed up throughout this long cake making process, so I decided to add some blue sanding sugar to the board. I really like how it adds a beautiful shimmery effect. My cute and amazing Tails cake is complete. This cake was extremely time consuming. It was certainly not made in Sonic the Hedgehog speed. The entire time I was making it, I didn't think it would look good, but now that I'm finished with it, I really love it so much. It's up there with some of my favorite cakes like the Baby Sonic cake. Also, let me know if you are planning to see the new Sonic movie.
Thank you all for watching today, and if you guys have any ideas for me, please let me know down in the comment section. And if you have not seen my Baby Sonic cake, you have got to go check that one out too. It is so cute. Okay, I'll see you guys next time. Bye everybody.